I missed that, but this is Patty from Home Helpers in Pennsylvania. Thank you, Patty.
Thank
Ryan,
you.
would you mind introducing yourself as well?
Sure. My name is Ryan Whittington, and I own a company called Seniors Home Care. We are in St. Louis, Missouri, known for the arch, the toasted ravioli, and the pork steak. So get over to St. Louis and see us soon. We again in St. Louis, we do private duty, private pay only, and have been for 37 years.
That's incredible. Ryan, would you piggyback on that to tell us just a little bit about the history of your agency with how long you guys have been in business?
Sure. We've been in business since 1987, and the company was founded by my mother for my great grandmother. And at the time, my mom was not a nurse. She was just the oldest family member in town. And so she was christened as the caregiver of choice. And through that experience, she realized that she would call it a divine inspiration, that there were so many other seniors that needed the same type of care. And so after she finished caring for her grandmother, she then created this business based on the fact that seniors really just needed mainly part-time care. And so her business was primarily focused around the structure, because even still today, families can go into the local newspaper or talk to some friends about a caregiver and hire them privately. But the structure is really where she focused on the accountability. And so my wife and I've been here 17 years. My wife and I purchased the business from my mom 2 years ago. And here we go, writing our own chapter.
Wonderful. I love to hear it because I know for so many people here today that resonates, that you had a family connection or a family need and realized, oh, it's not just us. It's not just our family. There's a great amount of need here. And knowing the impact that home care has, we love to see businesses growing that are meeting this need for their community. So love to
Well,
hear.
and it's even more need than ever now
Yes.
compared to then. But yeah, new challenges, same great need.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to tell my team really quick that they're just going to have to jump in here and fix this because I can't get it to work.
And nice to meet you, Patty. And I'm glad to see some of the other family or familiar faces on the call today. It's a great event.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Before we jump into a lot of questions and a lot of the things that you're doing that are working, I would love to spotlight for each of you what growth that you are seeing. And we're also going to join in. I see Trisha has made it. Welcome, Trisha. We've had quite the technical difficulties today, which is just feels like on par, going into your first big event like this, it's going to be something. Trisha, I've sent you a request to unmute. So as soon as you're able, feel free to do that.
Trisha, I just added you over here.
Thank you, Emily.
And then we're just looking for Jessica, right?
Yes, guys, this is Emily on our digital marketing
Hello.
team. So I was frantically texting.
I have chatted with Patty and Ryan a lot, and I'm so excited that they're on here. Jessica has been added on here, but it says she is not on. So I'm going to go ahead and leave here and send her an email real quick and see if I can help her out.
Perfect.
Are you good, Rachel?
Yes, we're good. Thank you, Emily.
Awesome.
She came to save the day. Yes, Emily has spoken with both Patty and Ryan. Emily is amazing. So I would like to hear, I know Patty and Ryan, both of you have experienced incredible growth at your agencies with some really great data points. So can I put each of you on this spot to talk about that? And if not, I will jump in and talk about it. Well, let's start with Patty. Can you talk a little bit about the growth that you all are seeing in the active caregivers that you have?
Yeah. First of all, it's been amazing. And hi, Ryan, welcome. You probably know my data better than myself because Lindsay, who is my human resources supervisor, she manages this contract with your team, but she could not be here today. But as the director, and we are also celebrating 20 years of being in business on July 1st, and have Thank you. And have caregivers that have been here 17 and 18 years. So we're feeling really good about that. But we have surpassed the 300 mark of caregivers. Woohoo! Yeah, we surpassed our bill rate of over 8,200 hours a week now. And there's no stopping. It just keeps coming and keep coming and keep coming. And thanks to your team, Rachel, we do about 4 orientations a week, and we're seeing sometimes 20 new hires a week coming in. You know, in the 90 days, we're probably like about 50% of them for various different reasons of them sticking around, but the growth just continues and continues, and we are not turning away any business.
Love to hear it. Does anybody want to hop in the chat and say if you're jealous? It's okay. You can say it.
I have gray hair to support it.
You could say, I know that, especially with you ending, Patty, saying we're not turning away any cases. That's where we want you guys to be. And I love it. It's incredible to watch you all grow. And we are definitely going to get into more why you guys are achieving that incredible growth. But I love the emails we get from your team, and working directly with Lindsay in HR, the emails that she sends us when you guys hit a new goal are always shared to our entire group chat because they're so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, you know, once a cheerleader, always a cheerleader. Even though I'm in my 50s now, I get out the pom-poms and every day it's a pep rally.
And that's why they're meeting the recruiting goals. You heard it here first. Love it. Ryan, can you talk a little bit about the numbers and the growth that you guys have seen in the past year or two since you purchased?
Well, like Patty, you know my data better than I do. Actually, Kelly on my team works closely with Marika on your team.
Yeah.
And what I would tell you is that we have experienced great growth. What I would talk to is that growth beyond just the caregivers, but also the ability that my recruiting and HR team has been able to take away from or separate their time to retention for the other caregivers that we employ for that over 90 days and beyond. Because let's face it, we need to keep them. We don't just hire them. So our ability to grow in those areas as well, and just overall the satisfaction in that HR and recruiting department in working with your team, their job satisfaction, I see it in managing here in the office and working with those team members. So I would tell you, I don't have a specific number, but I was just in with Stephen and Jensen, and they talked about the differences between the types of people that we hire, those that are working 40 hours a week and that this is their industry and this is what they're going to continue to do. Those 20-hour a week part-timer, or they're committed, but they're only going to work part-time. And then those people that come and go, and you know that feeling where you think you've got them, but then they're gone. What I know that we've been able to do is hire more of that committed industry professional in this caregiving field ever since we've made the switch to starting to work with your team.
Wonderful. I love to hear it. And I appreciate you guys sharing how Carework has helped. I want to turn that back and say we're going to talk a lot about the culture of the agencies that you all are building, because Carework can do a lot, but not every Carework client has such a great, incredible growth. And that speaks to what you all are doing with your teams. Trisha, I would love for you to introduce yourself. We're so happy you made it in.
I'm happy to be here too. You might want to put me on mute because I never shut up. But I have to say, like, you're wanting me to give you our accolades. Is that could I do that?
Just share who you are, where you are, and what kind of growth you're seeing at your agency.
Okay. Well, I am in Pennsylvania. I'm in the Poconos and also in Bethlehem, Christmas City. 13 years. Seems like an ominous number, but the fact that I made it 1 year is a miracle, I guess, from what all of us should understand. If we've been here more than a year, we're doing a slam dunk. We tried for a long time to do the hiring in-house and realized that, it's another employee we have to manage, and it's much easier to let you keep replacing the ones we're unhappy with. How's that?
Yeah.
There you go. And now we've got like our dream team with you and have had it for the past like year and a half. And we're very satisfied with what the results are. So thank you very much.
I love it. I'm going to have to send this whole recording to the Carework team because they work so hard.
They work so hard.
They do. They're incredible. They're incredible. I wish you guys could all be in the Carework group chat. I wish every recruiter in home care had a group chat like our team has, where they can hop in, Because recruiting does lead to a lot of burnout, and it's great to have that camaraderie of like, you guys will not believe what someone just said to me. Somebody jumped in the other day and was like, am I allowed to reject someone if they leave me a voicemail cursing me out? And they were kidding, because obviously the answer was yes.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I don't know what kind of voicemails you guys got today.
Yeah.
But we love that camaraderie. Well, I would love to talk a little bit about recruiting challenges, because no one achieves the growth that you all have without facing challenges in every area of the business, and certainly in recruiting. So Ryan, could you tell us a little bit about some of the biggest recruiting challenges that you have faced and what you did to overcome them?
Sure. And I would say that the number one is when we were doing all the recruiting in-house, and the person that works and in connection with the person that works with Carework, it's finding the right person, the right recruiter. The right recruiter knows the industry or a similar industry. They know the worker, they know the caregiver, they know the challenges, they know how to communicate with those. And so finding that person took us a while, and we have that now. And so that's where it all starts, because if you're just on a different page than your caregivers, the any recruiter that doesn't understand that's not going to work out. So that we deal with a lot of the same things that I would guess most industries deal with. That whole chasing someone down. They apply. You review their resume through your applicant tracking system. Try to get back in touch with them just to have another conversation, only to spend all your time trying to track a couple people down, and before you know it, the week's over. So communicating with people even before you were able to get them in to hire them was definitely a challenge. And just the whole time frame between that pre-interview, the interview, the hire, the orientation, just the amount of work. Now, I suppose there are companies that are large enough to be able to hire their own team, like you, like Carework, but it just, as Trisha said, it's nice for us to just let you manage that team. And we do what we like to do and what we can do best, and you do that. And then just the last thing was, again, what most people struggle through, and that's the no-shows after all that work, when they're just not showing up for the interviews. Nowadays, we just chalk that up to communicating with Carework about how to reduce no-shows, but it's not as big of a deal. It's less, we're less disappointed, because we know that there are more coming behind that.
Absolutely. And that's such a great takeaway for anyone listening, managing your recruiting team, because the essence of that is taking the emotion out of it and realizing it's a numbers game. It just is what it is. But that's very difficult. One of the reasons we see burnout on recruiting teams is they put in so much work and they want to do a good job and they're driven to get results. And the no call, no show rate can be very discouraging to recruiters. So for you, as you're leading an agency, to have that mindset to say, yeah, that is frustrating, but there's going to be more. It's a numbers game. Takes a lot of the pressure off for recruiters to come back and say, how do we strategize? How do we update our strategy to improve this? But also,
Sure.
It's part of the game. It is what it is. Can really take the pressure off of recruiting teams.
Well, and we've been able to switch and focus more on filling the funnel with the right people from the beginning.
Yes.
And so if we're doing that better, then the right will come through.
Absolutely. Patty, I would ask you the same question. What are some of the biggest recruiting challenges you all have faced, and what have you done to overcome them?
Definitely concur with Ryan with everything that he has experienced. And I think, what Jensen and what Stephen had said about, separating the recruiter from your HR generalist. And I think that took, numerous years for me to kind of get that and understand that, because I think we were asking too much of our HR generalists and not focusing on retention. Although we do have great success having people with us for over a decade, it still needs to be more of a focus. So when we made the decision to just go with Careworks and have you all focus on the hiring, then I allowed my 3 HR individuals to focus on retention. I hired a staff development coordinator who is a nurse, and she does all of our training. She runs our orientations, and she has goals in that 90-day care plan that she has to follow to try and keep as many as we can. You're right, it is a numbers game. And that's why I'm glad Careworks plays the numbers with us. because it's a lot. The burnout is great. You have to have a sense of humor. We feel there's an underground railroad, if you will, of caregiver excuses, because it seems to come on a weekly basis of flat tires, family emergencies. So we like to joke with your recruiters, which are our recruiters, and you just have to support each other through humor because it is funny, some of the stuff.
It is. Yes.
Especially when we offer to go pick them up.
Right, right. Yeah.
Oh,
I
no,
know.
no, no, no. Yeah. I can't leave my car. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I know you're fibbing.
But I think Rachel, for us too, COVID was a great eye opener for us because we were able to pivot and turn to the over the phone interviews. At first, we were doing it because of COVID and, you know, social distancing, all that good stuff, but still had to run the business. But then it became quite evident that, hey, this really works. So ever since 2020, we really do not do any in-person interviews, as you guys are well aware. You guys can be sitting from anywhere during our interviews. We've automated every piece of paperwork known to man by utilizing DocuSign. Gave the Carework recruiters usernames, passwords to use our DocuSigns. You know, everything is cell phone, you know, mobile, easy that, you know, the potentials could be sitting in their car while they're waiting for their kids to come out of daycare or out of school. We have done everything with your team that we have been asked of, or we have, you know, planned together to try and make this process as, you know, seamless as possible. I'm probably missing something.
No, that's great because what you're saying is that you're open to trying new things. You know, we don't hear with you guys that attitude of, well, this is the way we've always done it. We don't want it done any differently. You're trying new things. You're keeping the caregiver's needs first in mind. You're keeping a positive attitude about it. I agree about the humor because it is just what it is, you know, and we are always top priority is to be respectful of caregivers, build a culture that appreciates them. And we also find the humor sometimes in the situations that come up and some of the things that we hear. You know, it happens. It happens.
It happens.
Yes, it does. Trisha, finally, the question to you, what are some of the biggest recruiting challenges you all have faced and how have you overcome them?
Well, I have to tell you, we started being more particular about the clients we took on, and that's made a huge difference for us. So when I went back and started comparing metrics, I was looking at, gee, when I started the number of caregivers equal the number of clients. And because we got a little bit pickier, my caregivers are much less than the number of clients I have because they're utilized so well with their hours with software. You guys all know what I mean. But with that being said, some of these cases that we were willing to take on, those short shifts, those, hey, can you cover us for the weekend? Or, hey, I have an emergency. We didn't do very well with them. And now that we've really changed the trajectory of, you know, switching towards, let's really look at this client before we agree to take them. You know, if they're not willing to age in place, if they don't have the resources to do so, if they're not compliant with the policies that we have put in place to protect our caregivers, then they're not a real fit for our culture. We find that 90% of our clients come from referral base now. It's always been pretty high, but now it's exceptional high. So we have things in place like, you know, if you don't give us 24 hours notice, we're going to charge you for the first shift, and we're paying the caregivers because they committed to you. They got daycare, they got a car lined up, they got someone to, you know, deal with whatever it is they had to deal with. And then you disrespectfully canceled, you know, at the last minute because, hey, whatever, it just doesn't fly with us. So I think by changing the culture and really looking at who the clients are has made a big difference on customer service and burnout, you know, with, oh my God, I took a new case and we're failing. Like that kind of stuff is gone.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I love the mindset too of you're essentially teaching your clients to respect the caregivers.
Absolutely. Yeah, you betcha. Because they're like valuable, right?
Yes, absolutely. And again, that culture, what we see with all of you all in different ways and in different strengths is your culture is what's driving the growth. And that can be hard for people to quantify, to understand that it's the entire culture of the agency that's leading to these decisions. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Oh, I could burn your ear on it.
The next question I'd want to ask is just based on your experience, if you could offer one or two pieces of advice to other agencies, what would that be? Other people in the caregiving field? I'll start with you, Patty.
I think that you have to be open to spending money. That age old, you gotta spend some to make some, type thing. Trisha's right. We were able to look at our ops and try to figure out, we wanted minimals. We wanted clients to understand that not only are they our customers, but our caregivers are our customers
Absolutely.
as well.
Mhm.
That's all changed, as our, time goes by so quickly. So we do weekend differentials because we want to encourage caregivers to work on the weekends because care can't stop. Care is not just Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We also looked at giving Careworks a scale, if you will. If the person has X amount experience, offer them this per hour or do this. So, we've given you guys the leeway and you understand what we're looking for. And, I joked the last time I was interviewed with you guys that I like to look at my relationship with Careworks like Burger King, like have it my way. Like I can, tell Lindsay to call you guys up and say, okay, we need, overnights, focus on overnights, less male caregivers. We're not doing short shifts anymore. We're all private pay. We don't take any, options or waiver or anything like that. We're private pay. We work with people's long-term care insurance. And we explain to our caregivers during orientation that we go out and see every home. We're never going to ask you to go somewhere where we wouldn't go. So I think as managers, as owners, as nurses, as social workers, we need to let the caregivers know that we are equal to them. Back in the early days when you're starting a business, you're all caregivers. And I think if you tell your caregivers that story during orientation, that you've been there, it. Some of us have taken care of our own parents. So I think if you can show that you're a caregiver as well, I think they can see the human side of what you do. And every person in this business, you need to know your why. Why are you in this business? I mean, we're all blessed that we're able to make good money in this business, but you got to share it, with your caregivers, with your managers. We do all kinds of bonuses for the caregivers, for my team. You got to just share the wealth a little bit.
Absolutely. I love that. That's an incredible whole picture again of the culture that's driving the growth that you guys are seeing. That's incredible growth. I mean, you guys are meeting your goals like way ahead of schedule, right? And that's culture, and that's exactly what you're talking about. And I love the idea of starting orientation with saying, we are in this with you. We've been there. We get it. Here's how we're going to build this great environment for you. I love it. I would like to welcome Jessica to our panel. Like we said, we had a lot of technical difficulties, but Jessica, I would love if you could introduce yourself and then tell us if you could give one or two pieces of advice to agencies in the caregiving field, what would that advice be?
Hi, my name is Jessica and I own Flawless Family Home Care. And I got into the home care business after serving over a decade in assisted living facilities. And so we came over, me and my partner decided to build our own business from the ground up. As far as, we have a very good retention plan too, which starts with getting to their level. I tell them all that I actually started in the senior care business as a housekeeper, and then I worked my way up. So, so that they can all, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. As far as advice, hire a recruiting company.
This advice is getting a little biased.
It is though, before we hired the recruiting company, we didn't know how we were going to continue to grow. We were spending, night and day trying to recruit, and we weren't getting too far with it. So, but after we were able to hire a recruiting company, then we were able to more focus on retention. So And, we do a lot of various things for retention. We do a dedicated employee phone line that's just for them so that they can reach us via text, calling. After 90 days, we offer more pay to them. We do shadow shifts with everybody. There's just a lot that we offer. My biggest advice is, be flexible, be ready for anything, and be ready for, just be flexible, be willing to bend, because you're going to run into a lot of things.
Yeah.
And we do, and I do put myself in their shoes. I've given rides to caregivers to help them get to work so that they can get the cars fixed. I'm there sometimes just if they need to talk. And the biggest thing is just, making sure that, they have confidence and they're comfortable in what they're doing. So
absolutely. That support for them and whatever that looks like. I love the dedicated phone idea. I've heard that from more than one company, that we have a special phone number. They can call 24/7, somebody will answer. And that is hard to make that happen. But what an incredible gift to your caregivers to have that confidence. If they need you, they know exactly how to reach somebody that can help. We love to see it.
Yes.
Ryan, same question.
Sure.
You guys are experiencing incredible growth. What one or two pieces of advice would you give to someone who wants to be where you are, 1 or 2 years from now? You guys have experienced incredible growth just in the 2 years since you bought the business. So what piece of advice would you give to somebody that's maybe 2 years behind where you are right now?
Sure. Well, I would say that part of hiring Carework is our dedication to, well, for me as an owner and operator, doing what I do best and hiring other people to do the rest.
Yeah.
So that can be true for Carework, but it could also be true for other things in the office. So as you scale, keeping that in mind helps you scale even further and faster. The second thing would be track and gather a lot of data. That's really hard because we work a lot every day, every week, all month, and look back and we don't have anything data-wise to show how well or how not so well we did. And so really find a way, other than how many hours you've served, other than how many dollars you've made and all that, find data that relates to the decisions that you make and whether they worked or not. Because that's my third piece, which is to try new things. Don't be afraid to try new things and keep doing what works and stop doing what doesn't. And the only way you're going to know that truly is through the data. And so if you're not good at data, find someone that is. Find someone on your team that is. It'll really feel empowering to be able to spend the money or not spend the money. Because that's also a lot of times what it comes down to is spending the money. And the last thing I'd say is if you don't have a tight group that you can talk with about business, whether it's other home care owners or local people that are in a chamber, but close, people that you can talk about business with, consider joining a professional organization. I know I'm part of a mastermind group of home care owners, and it's really rewarding and beneficial to be able to learn new ideas, but also realize that the things that you're doing really are making a difference.
Absolutely. And Ryan, you're welcome to share the group that you're a part of.
Oh yeah, well, I'm with Stephen and Jensen with their home care CEO group. And I would just say that works for many for a period of time, and then sometimes it doesn't work after that. It doesn't have to be a forever thing. For me, it's been a while, but
I think that's true of everything, and really wrapping that up, every part of that together. When you have the data, you try new things, and then over time you might find that it's time for a change. We see that in recruiting and retention all the time, that what worked last year might not work this year. And for agencies, I would encourage you and echo what Ryan said about tracking your data, because if you're not, it's easy to go, well, we've tried that before and it didn't work for us. Well, if you tried it 2 years ago, it might be completely different now. And so having the data to be able to try things and say, is it working or not? But also, as Ryan talked about, hiring people to do things, you can empower your team to collaborate when they know the data that they're expected to perform on. And they can come to you and say, this was our goal, this is what we did. It's a lot easier to take your hands off as a leader of a scaling company if you have the numbers to show they're doing things, those things are working. I can let go a little bit. It's always a good feeling. Trisha, 1 or 2 pieces of advice, what would you share?
You caught me. Oh, okay. Right now, we kind of put a lot of stuff on hold because we decided to start running on EOS, which is entrepreneurial operating systems. And we've been putting 2 years of effort into it with an implementer, and it's a game changer because we really got it together. How's that? So by doing that, we really know who we are and who we want to be. We have our culture, we have our accountability, and man, metrics. So as you were asking, hey, what's your, turnover and all that, it's like, oh my God, the metrics we have, I could pull up spreadsheets. So it is the story that's told. And as I'm sitting here looking at this, it was amazing that I have about half the number of caregivers that I had 10 years ago, and I'm doing way more. And it's amazing that, well, because we're doing something right, the travel, I mean, I don't know what everybody else's locations are, but, we expect 22 miles because the Poconos nothing's close. And so we have kind of a system in place, and we're really on board. We just went to the EOS convention, and if you haven't looked into that, I highly recommend it for everybody here. Hopefully you're not my competition. I'm just going to put that in right there off the bat. And game changer
if you are.
Yeah, get off. No, love my implementer, would be happy to give his name, but let me tell you, it's the difference of night and day. The organizational chart is beautiful. The accountability is beautiful. Everybody knows and has a number. Everybody has a data piece they're accountable to, and if they're not hitting it, with our quarterly check-ins, we are all over it, and it's gotten rid of complacency. And if you are, goodbye, and it's okay. And I'll tell you what, sensitive people, because caregivers are sensitive, right? Oh my God, the sensitivity that they come with, like they get it. Feedback is good. You're going to keep doing something we don't like if we don't share with you why. So that's been an eye opener for us. Yeah. All being on the same page, all having numbers we're accountable to, is really setting us up for growth.
I love to hear it. And that is applicable to every area of the business. In fact,
100%. Life
I need
balance.
EOS? I think I need an implementer.
I will talk to you about that.
I need somebody.
You shared with me, I share with you.
There you go. I just had somebody at a conference last week end up talking to me for 30 minutes about EOS because I know very little about it. Like that.
Well, the conference had 2,300 people.
Wow.
I mean, it was amazing. It was absolutely next year. It's the Clear. The guy from Atomic Habits is going to be the main speaker. So it's really exciting. Really.
That's incredible. I love to hear it. I love to hear the systemization. And one of the things I like to help people with in recruiting is what KPIs are the recruiter's responsibility and what KPIs belong to the leadership team. So I would love to hear if anybody wants to weigh in there. How do you determine kind of what is in the realm of your recruiter's performance and what is a sign of a bigger strategic decision that the leadership team would need to be involved with? If anybody wants to jump in on that. No?
I mean, I would just say the longer term retention, certainly, looking at that. And then in Stephen and Jensen's presentation, they talked through the paycheck calculator, which we can't get into now, but essentially we ask our caregivers how much they need to make each week. And we set that as a goal to ensure that they make that. And if they're not, then it's up to our department, our scheduling and care department to reach out to them and offer them work and explain this because they've told us that that's what they need.
I love that. And what I just heard was 2 great things: the great mindset of giving them the work that they need, and the great system, like Trisha was talking about. Who owns it? What's the process? If they're not meeting this, this is the department that proactively reaches out to take care of that. That's wonderful. All right, I would love to dive into some unique recruiting methods. I know all of you have a lot of different things that you have tried. So we'll move kind of quickly because we have a couple questions to get through, but what unique methods have you used to improve your hiring process? Who wants to start? Anybody want to claim it? All right, Jessica.
Okay, so we, in order to get them, we figured out if we don't get them out, from hiring into working, that we were gonna lose them, so. We have our recruiter after the interview, they send off the paperwork, the prelim paperwork, pre-hire paperwork, so when they come in for orientation, that's already done. And then we can do the orientation, and from that day that they leave for the orientation, we already have scheduled them a shadow shift. And that way we can get them on a schedule, and that's helped a lot with, going from hiring to get them working. So we were able to shorten that process a lot. We do all of that paperwork electronically, so that way they can have that done. So, by the time we're done with orientation, they leave and they're out
Good to go.
working. Mhm.
Have you guys used the shadowing shift to kind of bridge the gap
Absolutely.
between getting them through
Mhm.
orientation and getting them paid faster so they're more likely to stay with you?
We've used, actually, I mean, they show up to orientation based on the time that they pick. So, we're flexible with orientation. I've done orientation at 6 o'clock at night on Saturday. So we use the shadow shift just to get them out and working, as soon as possible. It's just recently has it become where my hours are finally getting filled. But if my hours are kind of filled and I don't have, but we know they're a good employee, they're a good fit, then we'll use them for other things. Like we have a caregiver right now that went with one of our office staff, and she's doing community bingo, and we're paying her to do that. So
Love it.
that way we're not losing them, and we can keep them working, but because as we know, hours will come up,
Yeah,
all the time.
that's awesome.
And so, but we just kind of ran into that, like I said, before I had recruiting, my OT was out of control. But I've now got that brought way down. And we were able to triple our hours in growth too.
Amazing. Love it. All right, Patty, would you like to speak to unique methods you've used to improve your hiring process?
Yeah. We have a scholarship fund that a family member who hired home helpers years ago to take care of his wife. We did 24/7, we did live-in. He was just floored by the work that we did and the caregivers that were invited into his home. So after his wife passed, he and his children decided to take the money and turn it into a scholarship program just for our caregivers that want to further their career in some sort of healthcare setting. And we're finding it's mostly people that want to go to CNA school. So we match what he and his children give, and then he does fundraisers and he talks to all of his friends, and then we tell our family members if they had a positive experience, they can donate money to this fund. So about every 6 months or so, he rewards about 2 scholarships to our caregivers. We make it a big deal. We have a party. We use social media for everything. And you know how you just go on and Google what's the holiday of today, like National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day or whatever. We then shoot out messages via our software, and we ask caregivers to take selfies of themselves with that activity, or show us your biggest smile. And so we think that helps with getting our current employees to refer their friends and family. We have a pretty extensive employee referral bonus program where they can make up to $700 in 6 months. In addition to that, so $200 after 90 days, and whoever they referred has to be working at least 20 hours a week, and they themselves need to be working 20 hours a week to get that. And then in 6 months' time, an additional $500 if they're still maintaining So 6 months or 26 weeks, if they're still maintaining the 20 hours a week and are within good standing of the agency.
Awesome.
We don't cap overtime. So just like Ryan was saying, what Jensen and Steven said about the calculator, I will sit down with people when I hear that they have another job. Like, I understand I might be your side hustle, but wouldn't it be great if you could only work one job and then get overtime to help you meet your financial needs? Because if you're working 2 or 3 jobs, you're not getting OT. So I myself personally sit down with the person and do that. We do tap check. We're just trying to make as many resources as possible. We offer additional training where they can get a 25 cents an hour increase if they come in for further training with my staff development coordinator. So we're just trying to do everything possible that when you guys are recruiting, you can tell them that the benefits package just isn't dental, vision, and medical. It's all these other things.
Which is already a great foundation of benefits, by the way.
Yeah.
And I love that. So you guys are doing incredible referral programs. You're utilizing social media. You're getting your caregivers involved in your social media, which is the best people you can have on your social media are your caregivers, because that's
They'd love to take selfies. They love
That's awesome. They love to take selfies. I just got in trouble with our marketing department because apparently our team does not take enough pictures.
I'll help you with that. I'll help you.
I don't either. I need to be better. So many great ideas, Patty. Thank you. And you guys do have an incredible culture. We see it every day. We see the results of what you guys are doing. And obviously it shows in your numbers and the incredible growth.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ryan, unique methods. What unique methods have you guys used in recruitment?
Well, before I say that, the first thing is in working with the team of people and the approach is, if you've ever been in that company that you hired some great people, they came and everyone was excited, and then your team wasn't on the same page as far as how important those caregivers are, that's the worst. So make sure first you sit down as a whole team. It depends. I mean, if you have multiple locations, you got to get a little bit more creative, but make sure that everyone on your team, in your administrative staff, realizes how important it is to make sure that all the things that we're talking about today should be shown, not just by the recruiter, not just by the manager in the office, but by the scheduling team, all the people, because that's super important. Because otherwise, it's just you'll just keep trying stuff and it won't work out. So, but it's something as simple as something we learned from Carework, which is when we talk with someone on the phone, we ask them what their favorite candy bar is, and when they come in, we give it to them, and they're super excited about that. So that might be a secret that I just gave out across all Carework.
I was hoping someone would bring up the candy bar thing. Our whole team has been very excited about that.
It's been fun. It's really has been fun, and it continues to work, which is fun. We have created over the years Seniors Home Care Academy, which is a learning ladder where all of our employees, after they're hired, they have the ability to earn $1 more per hour for up to 3 ladders, 3 different stages that they can learn. And so many take advantage of that, some don't. But that's definitely something that we offer our employees as they come in. It took a lot of work, and they have to do a lot of work, but if they're up to it, it's great. And it's a better trained employee as well. We have, similar to Patty, we don't have a cap on our overtime. And we do have a 22-step 90-day retention program as well. Everything from phone calls to in-person surveys, talking with clients. So if it's not, we defined it because we knew that if we didn't do it for every employee, it just was only as good as the one that we did the worst. So we make sure that that is an automated part of our onboarding first 90 days for our caregivers. And then just one other thing that was mentioned is we actually do have a loaner car program, and we tell our new hires about that, where we have additional vehicles, company vehicles that if a caregiver, if their vehicle's going in for maintenance or it's just not working, we will loan our vehicles out. And it takes away that whole idea of, I can't go because my car won't start. They know before they call that we'll come with a car. Wow. And so we don't have 25 of them, but we have, and it really has made a difference. And if you've done anything like that, you know that when the caregiver looks at you and says how much that means to them, it really, it does matter.
It does. And the heart of that is building your culture and your processes around the highest quality caregivers that you have.
That's
Because
right.
where a lot of people get stuck is they think about how people might take advantage of that. And if that's the mindset, you will build your entire recruiting, retention, and culture around the caregivers that you don't like, that don't stick around. But to give the benefit of the doubt, and also it does, like you said, it provides that accountability. They know they're going to be told, we're
Sure.
going to get you.
One
I'm-
last thing that we do that
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt is, we heard from a lot of caregivers that they wanted to just get time in front of me and my wife and our leadership. So we created what we call Rise and Shine breakfasts. And we do them quarterly where any caregiver can sign up to come in and have breakfast with us, sit down, talk about home care, or anything. And it's always full. And it's again around that culture of hearing what they have to say. And it doesn't promise, and we're sure to tell them this, that we're going to do what they're asking. It's not a forum to say this is what we want and we demand it, but it does give and some of our best ideas for what we implement come from that breakfast.
That's incredible. I think I'm going to take that back to Carework as well. The
Do
way
it.
that you've set up that process. That's really wonderful. I know we are running short on time. I would love to hear, Trisha, your answer, and then we will finish with a final question. So Trisha, what unique methods have you guys tried?
Well, because we run on EOS, you have to have core values. And our core values are an acronym for ANGEL, which is obvious with visiting angels. And the A stands for advocate, N is nurturing, G is goal-oriented, which means training, E is ethical, and L is loving. And to say those things means one thing, but we explain them. So when they don't put the tasks in and they think that's okay, it's, oh, you're really not advocating for the client. And you keep saying that you're such an advocate. You're on, and you're not. And, you know, we do quarterly check-ins and we go over, are they the right person in the right seat? Do they get it? Do they have the capacity to do the job? Do they want the job? Like, we ask these questions and we compare them to a bar of our top 10 caregivers and feedback. Okay. So I hear my client care managers, my schedulers, receptionists, I hear them when they're calling out, oh, but you know, you're not being nurturing. You know, you say you love your client, but yet you're calling out or you're 15 minutes late. And the ethical one is, you know, clocking out early. You didn't call the office. So we use these terms and we're connecting them and they're realizing, I'm not loving. And the number one thing is goal oriented. I mean, if you're in a case and you need hands-on training, you need to call us. We'll be there in the car in seconds. But right now upstairs, there's a Teepa snow training going on. That's why I'm downstairs. It looks like I'm in my parents' basement. There's a huge Teepa snow. I think we have 20 caregivers up there and they're all getting hands-on training and they're empowered. And it's like they want to take these skills and they want to go out there and use them. And then again, that accountability, are you an angel? And the other one are like our three uniques are, you know, we focus on resource, reliability, and respect. And that respect word is the one that we use with the clients all the time. Oh, we have to respect our caregivers. You know, there's boundaries with them. You don't get their phone number. You don't call them when you need something, you know, yeah. So all those talking points come out of our core values. That's been a game changer, big time.
Absolutely. Having that total culture summed up in a way that is so succinct. And then what you're saying and we use it, we talk about it, we hold people accountable to it because building the culture is so difficult. It has to be something that is a continuous discussion and that there is that accountability piece to say, that is not our culture. That's not what we believe.
And we stand for it. Like, we really mean it. And it's amazing. We thought we were going to have to put like quarters on desks every time we heard, oh, you use core values. Yay, let's put a quarter. It's just, it rolls right off the tongue now. It's so easy. And every time we make a decision at our level 10s, it's like, does it match our core values? Are they the right person for the right seat? You know, are we going to let this person go today? It's all so easy.
Yeah. Because you have clarity. You have clarified exactly what you stand for, who you are, and what you're doing.
Correct.
And then you're just living in alignment with that clarity.
Correct. Yeah. And we even, we've always said we want to make a difference in the lives of families. I mean, who doesn't say that? Blah, blah, blah. But we put at the end of it, our caregivers too. They matter. right? And by paying them a fair wage, by never missing a payroll, by, never offering, I hate to say it, tap check. Oh, I hate it because it's such a bad, I don't feel good when I see them having to do that every day, on and on. So we've actually come up with a Halo program, which is a legacy, meaning I'm going to match your 401k. I'm going to put money in there. You can tap into it if you have to, but come on, let's save. And I have a caregiver that's with me for 10 years. She works 20 hours a week and she put over $20,000 away. I mean, come
Wow.
on, right? All on
Yeah.
her own. And I wish they were all like that. So that's kind of the culture we're building here of empowerment, because having a savings account gives you the ability to make choices on your future and what you want to be. So anyway, that's
Yes.
our culture in a quickie.
I love it. I love it. And again, coming back to the caregiver first mindset, I think there's probably a lot of people who will watch this who are hoping you guys were going to come in and say, the secret is you spend
Secret
this amount
sauce.
on Indeed
Yeah.
and you do this and you do this, because people want to believe that there is one size fits all recruiting process and retention process that is the secret sauce. And the truth is, each of you are speaking to the culture that you have, the way that you treat
Right.
caregivers, and then how that informs the process. The processes are flowing out of that culture more than anything else. Well, we are going to wrap this up with a final question if everybody has time. I would love to hear how you are rewarding and recognizing the caregivers at your agency to continue building that incredible culture. Patty.
We do the raises. We actually do reviews. Just don't throw money at people. People want goals. They want tasks. They can play the game if they know the rules. So we give out birthday cards. We know when it's everybody's birthday. Also through our software, we text happy birthday to them. It really sometimes just isn't about money. It's about recognition and, how are you? Type thing. So that would be my suggestion is, just remember, no matter how big you are and how much money you make, know your why. Everybody should know their why.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Patty. That's so powerful because that then informs all those other decisions, because you are covering your financial basis with pay raise, you're covering career progression, but you're going beyond that to say, if I have those and I don't have the culture where we care about them, it doesn't matter. We have to care about what we're doing. And then you will see the power of the foundational things like your pay, like your careers, and all of that comes into play much more powerfully when the culture is, we know our why, we care about the people. And that's what comes first. Ryan, I would ask you the same things. What are you guys doing to reward and recognize your caregivers?
We do all of those same things, or most of them. We have a company picnic every summer out in the park. I'm sure other companies do that sort of thing. We certainly do in-person reviews, and we send the thank you notes. And I mentioned some of the other programs that we offer, which are all fun. I would say too, just back to what I said before, was you wouldn't ignore your clients and keep them. So you got to think the same way with your caregivers. And if your agency's so big that you yourself as the leader or the top manager can't call every caregiver on their birthday or on their work anniversary, find someone else in your organization to do that. Do it on the day, because that really matters to our employees. That's why they do what they do, just like our clients appreciate it. And it's not like 2 weeks before or after, because then they know that that's what that is. Call them on somebody should. And if you do if you as the leader do a portion of those yourself, word gets out. All of a sudden, just doing a portion of them seems like you did them all, because you just mix it up and you keep calling different people. So that I agree with what Patty said, and it's really just that personal touch, because yes, you have to give raises. You have to be competitive on pay. If you don't, you go out of business. But those extra pieces are the personal touch.
Absolutely. And I love how you're balancing that with your own ability. You can't do everything yourself, but also rewards and recognition is not something that should be outsourced completely out of your involvement. You're keeping that involvement, you're keeping that line of communication open. And we do see with caregivers and with any company, it is different when it is the owner or leader, manager of a company taking the time they know how busy we are and how busy you are, and they feel the impact of that differently, which is incredibly powerful.
Mhm.
Trisha, would you share with us what things are you guys doing to reward and recognize your caregivers?
We have an awards banquet every year and we advertise it all year long. And they know it's not just longevity. There's
Mhm.
also hitting our core values, and a lot of them get their wings at that time because
Yeah.
they've done all the work to earn it. I will be introducing the Halo program this year, and we will be going over our 10-year plan, which includes them. And I'm really wanting to do some sort of legacy financial thing for them. Kind of working out the logistics with VisionLink right now, another company. It's all going to be focused on the core values, and I'm really hoping to see a lot of excitement. I love the picnic idea. We've done that for years. But you know, in Pennsylvania and the Poconos, it gets a little mosquito-y and hot, and we all got tired of schlepping food, and we like, you know what, let's just chuck it in. We're doing it at the Green Pond Country Club, and we're gonna make it fancy, and I've got a videographer there, picture options, and updating their pictures on their name tags. I want them to look spectacular and really be proud about wearing it, and then have holes in it so they can put their angel wings on there. Just really recognizing it, and then the build up. And we do a caregiver of the year. We were the recipient 2 years ago for Visiting Angels. We won caregiver of the year out of all the franchises. And she is still with me. She's 72, just throwing that out there at everybody. And then our next caregiver we put forward, he did not get chosen, but yet he will be recognized. And then the next one. So we do a lot of that, like you want to be that person next year. And here's how you get to become that person. Really creating the culture where we all help one another, train one another. And we're hoping to see some great interaction. So anyway, that's mine.
Incredible. I love it. And the focus in your banquet of how do you make them feel empowered and feel spectacular. It's that
Mhm.
old quote of people will forget what you said, but they'll never forget the way that you made them feel. And when your caregivers feel the appreciation,
Right.
it changes the behavior and it allows for this incredible scaling growth that all of you are seeing. Jessica, final person in the hot seat. What are you guys doing to reward and recognize your caregivers?
So we did a summer family bash, and their families were invited, and we did a pool party. We did an end of the year Christmas bash. They fill out a favorites sheet when we hire them. So like when we go do supervisory visits, we'll bring them like say their favorite coffee or whatnot. Like
Wow.
Valentine's Day, we went around and delivered clients box of candy, but we also delivered to them too. We have a track where they can move up within our company. So you know, caregiver to lead caregiver to mentor. And then we have promoted for care coordinator from inside. You know, we have an employee Facebook page. So, and on our regular one too, where we do shout outs when they went above and beyond for training. You know, we're there for them. You know, I'll talk to them at all hours of the night. Sometimes the midnight girls, they'll talk to me quite a bit, which is fine for me. And you know, we basically we make our caregivers, they're just as valuable as the client. So
Yeah.
you know, I mean, obviously we do you know, we do raises, and we do the raises, they get the $1 more after the 90 days, but it's more than that. You know, there's a lot of studies that'll show you it's more than that. We offer a very good training program. And I thought and they can go above and beyond. And I have some that are always like, add more training to me, add more. So as they, you know, finish those training courses, I'll redo their badges so that they can, you know, wear that proudly. And then we'll do like bios for them to give to new clients, and we talk about that, you know, their training. So yeah, we're constantly looking for, you know, and I ask them too all the time, you know, what can I do to, you know, just let you know I appreciate you. I mean, I'll just call them sometimes just to let them know, like, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for
It
what you
goes
do.
a long way.
And just remind them that they are the reason that the company has grown and continues to grow.
Absolutely. And what I heard from each of you was these incredible personal touches that you have built an underlying system to be able to do. You know, Jessica talking about, we have them fill out this favorite sheet at orientation. So if we take them coffee, we can take them their favorite coffee. That's an incredibly personal touch that I think for a lot of people, as their companies grow, it's hard to figure out, how do we maintain that personal feel at scale, at the scale that you all are at. And I heard it from each one of you, your birthday processes, somebody's calling them or texting them on their birthday. How do we know their favorite candy? How do we make them feel spectacular in the photos that they have? How do we update their badges to show the training that they're doing? These are things that give that incredible personal feel to the caregivers, but you all have each figured out how to turn them into a system that you can consistently do as your agencies are scaling, which is phenomenal. I want to thank you guys for being on with us today. It means so much to us to have you at the Carework Recruiting and Retention Summit. And this was incredible information to hear from each of you, what you're doing, what's working, and how people who are watching that want to be where you are, what changes they can make. So thank you guys. Do you have anything else to add before we jump to our next session in a couple minutes?
Thanks to all the other panelists. Learned a lot. It was great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you guys so much for joining us. For everyone attending, you can hop back into the main session by leaving your break room, and we will be starting again in 5 minutes with our final full session of the day. Don't forget, we are doing a raffle at the end of the day with some pretty awesome prizes and with some pick your prize options. That'll be our last thing today. And we will see you guys in about 5 minutes for the next section of the leadership track. Thank you
Thanks,
all.
Rachel.
Bye-bye.